Fred Radio. Delicious. These guys taste great with salsa. Great with salsa. This is the legendary Humble and Fred Show.
Redhead senorita, look at that, kept it set, need a bed in Espanol. Said, give me a drink of water, I'm gonna sing around the collar, and I don't need a microphone.
This is the legendary Humble and Fred Show, Canada's national morning show.
We are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
The following episode of Humble and Fred Radio is brought to you by FYI Music News, The Retirement Sherpa, Gig Sky, The Chambers Plan, Strain Print, Freedom Construction, Ringside MD, Clear Air Solutions, CDM Technologies, and 5 Hour Energy. If you'd like to talk to Humble and Fred, call 1-833-437-8465. That's 1-833-HF-STINK. And now from the worldwide headquarters of the Humble and Fred Show, here are Humble and Fred.
Why you make such strange noises, Phil?
I hear them.
Why you make a noise?
I hear those noises.
Why you make so much a noise?
What's that voice you're putting on?
It's an Italian voice, Fred. It's been authorized by the Canadian government.
Signora.
Why do
signori.
you make that noise?
Hey.
Oh, it's on the OK list.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot. Right.
It's on the okay to-do list.
It's over there. It's right beside Scottish voice. It's okay. It's been approved.
Our Phil, you're a fine lad from the Oriental.
I don't know where you're from. Markham, I guess.
Just keep your eye on that no-go list, okay?
Where are you from?
Stouffville.
Markham Stouffville Hospital. That's where the giant head came out of his mother.
And then
That's
couldn't
right.
come out.
It wasn't. When Phil was born, his baby pictures are just of his head.
Yep.
It's like, in a basketball in swaddling clothes.
No, it was orange. It was an orange basketball. Like, that's the actual photo.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah.
And it said Spalding on it.
My father has this dual portrait. So
His
there's-
dad picked him up with one hand and went, wow, that's pretty good. He's the one hand.
Said
Not
Spalding
everyone
right
can-
across his forehead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's like Liz with a
Spurting.
cute head, and then me with the,
All right, Phil.
giant
And
head.
as we found out last week, it was an emergency
C-section.
C-section, so
Yes.
she was saved a horrible episiotomy.
Oh, yeah. Episiotomy would have started at her throat.
Can you imagine having that stitched up? Ouch. It's got to be
Welcome to the show, everybody.
poor women.
Yeah, poor women. 1-833-437-8465. Mark Hebscher will be calling in this morning. Just a quick chat with Mark. Also on the show, there's a funny song thing. Huh.
Right.
That's terrible. I should know that. Anesti Daniels is a comic song parody type of thing.
Be great.
Yeah, I had it in front of me, and I don't. Did you print it, Phil?
I did. Yep, right below this page here.
Hebscher's going to call in. He's going to rant a bit about, Mike Babcock being fired. He agrees with it, by the way. Maybe Anesti will have some funny Mike Babcock being fired songs.
Oh, well.
Comes up with them just like that, eh?
Well, once he almost burned down his friend's cottage.
Come on.
Russell Peters once told Anesti Daniels, told him off during a show because I was recording it with my digital camera. I was 14. What did I know? Steve Nash once kicked Anesti Daniels off a basketball court because I scored too many points when he visited my community center.
Wow, what a life.
Yeah.
He's lived more life than either one of us.
Okay.
My goodness.
All right. I don't know if that's
crazy.
true. I don't know if that's true, but
I'm
hey,
being-
if
I'm-
that's
I'm-
your,
I'm
is that
kidding.
your bit?
I'm kidding.
Is that your bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that's what's happening. And Dan Duran, of course, and a special guest. A very special guest. He's a nice boy. Best friend Dave, who once saved Fred's life on the side of the 401. We all know that story. And Amanda Barker is, I guess, down in the crapper putting on her makeup. Because Amanda will come in, say hi to us, door opens, then she just goes running down to put her face together.
As women do.
You and I have not had to do that. This is the face where we brought this face with us. BYO face.
There's a face feed.
Bring your own face. That's what we did.
Yeah, women often have to do that, rush into a place and fix their face. I mean, the only time I do that is I'm checking for bogues, if I feel like there's something might be in my nose. That's really the only time I look in a mirror. Other than that, what's the use, right? But why add to it with something hanging out of your nose?
I'm always fascinated. Sometimes I'll feel like something's hanging out of my nose, and I'll just reach up, and it's like it's the size of the top of a.
Yeah. What?
It's like a garbage can lid.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. You just start pulling it, and it's like, what the hell?
Ooh.
How'd it get in there?
Good morning.
What formed it?
Ooh.
All right, Phil. Sean Sargent's here. He's running the Twitch feed.
Yep, we are live.
We're live on Facebook. You can check that out.
And come join us.
You come join us on Twitch. It also broadcasts on Twitch and Facebook, and commenting on both you can do. I find the comments on Facebook a little less, I don't know, in real time. People sort of comment and move on, whereas on Twitch it's just it's like who are those guys? And don't they have something else to do for 2 hours?
Who are those 4 guys?
No, but whoever they are, they're there for 2 hours.
Yeah. No, we have long-time viewers. That's not a thing you regularly get, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and yesterday I looked, there was actually 82 at one time.
So if they were there every morning for 2 hours,
Yeah.
obviously they have no money to support our sponsors.
Right.
Well, they could be on the GO train.
I'm kidding.
I'm trying to do jokes. Guys, come on. Let the guy do his jokes. I don't always
Getting
know
all
when he's joking.
serious.
I don't always know when he's
Sorry.
joking. Hold up a hand. Let me know
Too
when you're
serious.
joking. So let's review. We have lived more lives. You were joking. Boogers are funny.
Yeah.
Babcock is fired. Dave White's here. And, this is our show. The biggest story in Toronto, what is it? The coach of the team that people live and die by has finally been let go. And I can't wait to talk to Hebsher about the fact that when he came here in 2015, not Hebsher, Babcock, that...
No, Mark came in 1915. There's another
a joke. I get it. That one I got. That one's a good one. Let's do it again. Anyway,
Well, I
when
thought Can't Support Our Sponsors was pretty good.
it seemed a little, but that one
the
didn't
Mum's
play as
Basement
well.
thing,
Yeah,
right.
because
Yeah.
it seems kind of serious. Like, ooh, there she is, ladies and gentlemen. Put her face on. now.
Anyway, you want to ask him about 2015?
Well, just 2015 when Babcock was hired, it was like, hey, everyone, Jesus just took the head job of coaching the Maple Leafs.
Right. And he was going to be the guy
Gonna
with
be the
that.
savior.
He was going to be the guy that finally won that cup that Toronto wanted. And now he's just he's added to the list of coaches that have tried and failed. And now the new coach, he's 39 years old, Sheldon Keefe. He's got an unbelievable record of winning at every other level. 39 years old from Brampton, Ontario. And now he will be eaten, I'm sure, within the next few years.
Listen, you can go down the list of coaches, whether it's Keenan or Babcock or who's the one I always
Keenan.
forget?
Keenan what?
No, that they won Stanley Cups.
Oh, right, yes.
So it's
And
cute.
then-
You think your
yes.
little Brampton buddy, who's won himself a what? He's won
Calder Cup.
Calder Cup.
Maybe a memorial.
Maybe.
I'm not sure.
But it doesn't matter. People have come here with huge credentials.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, they have. Yes, they have. Although I don't know how many coaches other than Babcock have came here having won a Stanley Cup as a coach. That's a great question. I'm not sure.
Well, Keenan won one with Detroit, did he not?
Yeah, but he was never coached the Leafs.
Who was the guy that
Pat Quinn never won.
Quinn never won, but he
not as a coach.
Who was one before Quinn?
Maybe Randy Carlyle did. Yes, Randy Carlyle.
With L.A.?
No, with Anaheim.
Oh, okay. I knew. It was
I'm not sure. I
California.
would have to do my research.
I'll do some. When maybe
That's a funny joke. I'll do my research.
yeah, take time away from your bit writing. Parker, what's going on with you?
Nothing.
You're going to Bahrain.
I'm going to Bahrain tonight.
What's involved with that? You can't just sauce into Bahrain.
No, you need a visa.
with your what's that card I have? Next card. What's the card
Nexus?
I have? Nexus. That's it.
Yeah, that won't help me, right?
I don't know.
Nexus?
Do you have Nexus?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that will help.
Bahrain.
No, it won't.
Do you have to wear a scarf on your face over
I
there?
think so. Yeah. I can't wait.
You should wear a leaf scarf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have to wear a scarf?
I
mean, have you gone over the rules
going
yet?
into mosques, I do. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, but you got to do that here.
Oh, yes,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
But were there some special travel advisories? Like, I'm serious. I don't know. I've never been to Bahrain.
I had to get a visa. Mm-hmm. Well, a couple things. I had to get a visa to go into Bahrain.
Yes.
Bahrain. But going into Israel, I'm going to fly in as an American. I'm not going to get my Canadian stamped. And Marco will fly in as an Italian because there's a few countries that won't let you in if you do have an Israeli stamp in your passport. And I generally travel as Canadian, so I know.
Like Malaysia.
Oh, yeah, well, I can imagine that.
5 hours on the phone yesterday trying to get a flight into Tel Aviv. Let me tell you.
Let me Tel Aviv you. Let me Tel Aviv. That's the kind of thing once you get there, everybody's doing jokes, right?
That Bahrain, watch yourself over there.
Yeah.
They'll behead you for jaywalking.
Will they?
Yes. Right there on the spot.
You know what?
I'm more worried about Turkey.
You were dropping a hot 15 right here, buddy. You are on fire. Imagine that. Countries won't let you in, if you have an Israeli stamp on your passport. Gee, I wonder why. Could it be
Why is that, Howard?
Everyone hates the Jews,
Well,
Howard?
They're all at war, too, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
They're like technical war,
Sure.
you know?
With Qatar.
But
It's
I will
actually
say that
Istanbul that I'm more worried
Istanbul, not Constantinople.
about. Just because, Syria, they're not getting along so great. So I'm a little worried about Istanbul. But
One thing, though, once you get into Israel, you're gonna love it because
wait.
it's just an entire population of people doing bits all day long.
I
Who
can't
are
wait.
these people?
Great.
Shalom, I'll shalom ya. Shalom fo, shalom aloma, casa shaloma.
I tried to make a reservation last night for a place, and I was like, I don't speak Hebrew. Like, it's all in Hebrew. I don't speak Hebrew. That's not going to happen.
Last time I spoke Hebrew was my bar mitzvah.
Can you make a reservation for me?
Yeah,
Did they teach you that in your bar mitzvah?
Do the 4 questions. Well, I'm excited for you, man. I've never been to any of those places. Have you?
No. Bahrain is an island, eh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And will the climate be warm there right now?
It will be, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm bringing my bathing suit.
Wow. Very
Yeah.
nice.
It's like Florida.
I wonder
kinda.
if they have nice beaches.
Oh,
They
yes, you
do, apparently. We have a nice pool at the hotel.
Now, are you allowed to wear your bikini or
I
not?
don't know. We'll find out.
In the
When
hotel.
do you start
Bahrain is very, they don't, I think, well, from what I've heard, it's very fine.
What?
All things are allowed.
Okay, excuse my ignorance. Where is Bahrain?
It's off of the UAE. Do you know the UAE?
So yeah, the United Arab Emirates.
There's like a bay between Qatar and Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Like a little inlet there, and it's an island right in the middle.
Yeah.
In the Persian Gulf. Ooh.
Saudi Arabia, I mean, listen, say what you will, but they could afford to buy our country.
Yeah.
And then we could just become, some part of them when we get to go hang out.
I'll be honest, that's why I'm getting the other stamp in my passport, because if I ever have to do work in Saudi, then
I see.
they won't let me in if I have the Israeli stamp.
Is it like a totally independent country?
Yeah.
Bahrain?
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
sultanate.
it is, yeah. It's a kingdom.
And they have a sultan?
Like, the address of my hotel is the Kingdom of Bahrain.
right.
And they have a
So
sultan
it's Oman.
Yeah.
Oman has a
of
sultanate.
swing? Is that where you go?
No, you know what? I thought of that, and I thought, no, that's too cheesy.
No, oh, come on.
Well, she's rocking the Casbah.
No, it's not.
No, really, what would they have? Would they have a sultan or
It's a
a
king.
sheik?
It's a king.
A king.
Shah? They don't have a Shah?
But they have a sultan.
Who had a Shah?
What?
Iran.
Iran.
And doesn't there Saudi Arabia have some shahs?
They have a king.
Okay.
All right.
Oman has
When
a
do you
sultanate.
start working?
Sunday.
Like, what day is it today? Thursday, you'll fly tonight to Bahrain?
Yeah, I think Saturdays must be like off days over that part of the world, I think.
But
'Cause
how
nobody
long?
seems
My
to
point
be
is it a long flight? You fly straight to Bahrain?
No,
Where you-
I'm doing 7 hours to London tonight.
of course,
and then
yes.
tomorrow I'll be 8 hours from London to Bahrain.
Do they allow girls to be educated there in Bahrain?
They do,
Oh,
yeah.
they do? Oh, isn't that
They do.
great?
It's
That's
okay.
nice.
They
do
do.
that, yeah. It's nice.
To be honest, I've always wanted to wear a hijab, so I'm kind of hoping I get to. I just feel it'd be great. I wouldn't have to do my hair for once. Be nice.
Yeah, listen, I get it, man. I would like to wear something. I didn't have to worry about my head. It's like put on a big
Same here.
toque every day or
Yeah.
something.
Just put a bag
I see
on
the
me.
young hipsters walking around with toques all the time. I'm like, I would do that, except when I take a toque off, my head looks ridiculous.
Everybody
I look like, honestly, I do. I take a toque off, I look just like Larry David. That's the one I look the most.
When I put a toque on, it looks like my face looks like one of those grape tomatoes about to be popped.
Yeah.
It seems to push all
Juicy.
my... Yeah. I can't wear a...
Delicious.
My son looks good in a
Yeah,
toque.
exactly. I'll tell you, Rachel looks great in a toque.
So does my wife.
I look like and I'm going to say this respectfully, like I have some special needs. I do. Nothing wrong with that.
Leaving
That's
that
nice.
there.
I do have special needs.
I'll do that in my tight 10 in Tel Aviv.
All right, well, listen, Barker's here, who I don't know if you've ever been here for this part where we get Dan Duran on the show.
I've been here for
Have you been for that?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. Have you been here for that part?
Yes.
Where we sing?
Yeah, I sing. I came in as Dan Duran.
Okay, here
Do
we
you want me to do his part?
No, he's coming in.
No, but he doesn't sing it. He doesn't
Because he should sing it. He's
I
the
know.
best singer of all of us.
I know.
Here comes Dan Duran.
I wonder where he's parked outside today. Usually he parks outside of a Starbucks or a dumpster with Wi-Fi.
Loblaws.
Come on, Dan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everything going this morning with you boys?
It's good there, fella.
Are you having a stroke, Dan?
All right, Dan, hang on. Let's get right to it, all right? Because usually we fart around too much. Let's get right to it. Here we go. Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran. Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran. Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran.
I am Dan Duran.
Well, it had a strong start.
Dan Duran and his funny weather. Dan Duran, will you, if I make spaghetti sauce and spaghetti tonight for you and Rachel, would that be okay, or do we have to take you out for dinner? Or
No. That sounds fantastic. That sounds great. Yeah.
I was just talking over.
I thought
It's been a while.
Would want to take you out for dinner, but anyway, go ahead.
The Dan Duran? No. Why don't you talk to him?
Dan Duran dinner. Dan Duran.
Dan Duran dinner.
I am buying dinner.
I am buying dinner.
Everything I do in my life, I sing that song now.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man. People are loving that Dan Duran song.
Well,
Yeah,
I love it.
The only thing, Fred told me to put brown sugar in the pasta sauce, and I know it makes me nervous because I'm not sure. What if I put too much in and it's too sweet, and then everyone hates it?
Well,
You taste
use your
it.
hand.
You what?
You taste
You
it.
taste it as you go. Get 9 spoons out. Little taste, put it in.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Dan Duran?
Well, be cautious. I agree. You know, sugar can take it over the top sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that Fred's secret ingredient?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
Thanks, Howard. Not that a lot of people put.
No, you do put sugar for balance.
Yeah.
Honey, I've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you add the salt to sort of balance the sweetness and the salty. But you want to put some cayenne pepper in too. I'll give you the
Yeah. The only thing is I don't really like sweet, savory food,
right.
so I would be very cautious. But I like the
you
idea
do it to
of it.
taste.
All right, you two.
Did you that sauce?
Okay.
That sauce you had at my place in the summer. Did you like it?
Amazing.
Well, there you go.
Okay. Well,
It
you've
had
taught me a
secret-
lesson. Dan?
What do you
Yes.
just grab the thing and just dump it all in? You
Yeah,
don't
that's what
do
I
that.
do.
It's like anything else, Howard. You do it. It's a recipe.
How did I get?
Jesus.
Why am I in this debate?
What? This is good weather.
Yeah, Dan Duran weather. Weather Dan Duran.
Yes.
This weather brought to you by Dan Duran. And what will we look for this? Because, of course, this is Thursday, meaning the end of the Humble and Fred week.
Right. So it's the Humble and Fred weekend coming
Yes,
up.
Humble and Fred weekend. Of course, Phil Hong hosting the best of Humble and Fred Friday and Saturday on Funny 820.
Right. Well, the day today is going to be quite warm. Actually, warm but seasonal. Like seasonal is 6 degrees for Toronto this time of year. 7 is what we're heading for today. Later on, there's some rain in the forecast. Maybe 1 to 3 millimeters of rain coming in overnight. The more notable probably is the wind that's going to be kicking. So wind overnight is there's a low pressure system coming through, and as the cold front passes, there's going to be wind gusting up to about 60 kilometers an hour or so, and then after that, later on Friday, it's going to dissipate. And as we get into the weekend, a little bit cooler in the temperatures, but between 4 and 6 degrees, pretty much into next week. And Tuesday looks like it's going to be a pretty warm day.
And the latter part of next week, Howard and I are going to want you to give us a little bit of Florida weather as well, right, Howard?
Okay.
The locations we're going to be.
All right, I'll start.
Coral Springs weather, Coral Springs.
Coral, you're Coral. I'm Tarpon.
Coral and Tarpon, they are both springs.
How is the weather in Bahrain?
Dan, do you have Bahrain weather for Amanda Barker? Bahrain weather,
rain
weather,
in
Bahrain. It's always raining there.
Going to Bahrain?
Yeah, she's going to Bahrain.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to drive when you're over there?
I don't know. We'll find
Are
out.
you allowed to do simple addition?
I'm allowed to
tables.
work.
Square roots?
I'm allowed to be a CRO
Yeah. How many days in Bahrain?
of work too.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm
then-
going to do Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to hang out.
And then when do you have to go to Israel for work?
I'm not. I'm going
Oh,
to
he's going
Israel
to Israel for fun.
because I want to. Yeah.
Will you? Hey, Dan, just hang on a second. Like, you know, when you
Sorry,
go to,
Dan.
like when I was in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
I believe is what it's called.
Where I'm
with
from.
my children, yes.
Yeah.
Many years ago, we had clam chowder
Yes.
everywhere we went.
Yeah.
When you're in the Middle East, you just have hummus for every meal.
Can't wait. Yeah. Brush your teeth with it. Yeah.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Hummus for days.
What
Hummus.
Hummus in your coffee.
What do you know? What would a sort of national type dish be in Bahrain?
Oh, in Bahrain, I have no idea. I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah.
I'm assuming they just all eat pita all the time. I don't know. Everyone I know from the Middle East,
Hummus and pita.
they
and,
all eat
Isn't
pita.
lamb big over there?
Oh, I don't know. I don't
Probably.
like lamb.
I love lamb.
I don't like lamb.
Oh, you're special.
No lamb. You know where lamb's huge is Australia.
Yep.
Everywhere I went.
You know,
Oh yeah, Australians.
Dan, where do you
Lamb.
feel about lamb, hummus, and Bahrain?
I don't know much about Bahrain, but hummus, awesome. Lamb, Fred does a good lamb. I got to say that. He's full of recipes. Is it brown?
Does he put brown
That's the
sugar
brown
all
sugar.
over it?
Brown sugar.
Yeah.
Do you have cayenne?
Yeah.
Yeah, not regular pepper. Cayenne. Needs some zip.
Oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. What is it?
It needs some zip.
No, but what is cayenne?
I said no. You don't use regular pepper.
No, I
It's
know.
got to be cayenne.
But I want you to, for the next 2 or 3 hours, explain what cayenne pepper is.
Well, it's red and it's ground very fine.
Well, I tell you what,
yes, yes.
stay here while I go get some and put it in your eye.
Pepperoncino. That's
I
what you want.
I use cayenne pepper for my chicken chili. Made that a couple weeks ago. Hadn't made it for a while. Not everyone likes that cayenne pepper, but it's a different kind of heat.
Here's what you might do: measure it as you use it. You might want to do that.
What? Measure what?
Measure your cayenne pepper as you use it.
Oh, okay. So what do I do? I like
Because
to
there's
get.
people that might not like cayenne pepper, but if in the right measure, they would enjoy it.
What are you making?
I decided rather than take Dan and Rachel, rather than go to a restaurant, I got all afternoon. I'm just going to make a nice
Spaghetti sauce.
spaghetti sauce.
Spaghetti.
Isn't that nice?
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't made it, and I
yeah.
haven't made it in a while. I just asked him, hey, just what do you, I guess what are sort of the basics? Just to remember. And one of the things he said that I'd forgotten is the tomato paste.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I would have forgotten that, but
Oh, do you want me to write it down for you?
I'm going to write it. I'm serious. When we're done the show, I'm just going to write down the reminders because it's very
Okay.
similar to what
Some
I've
Roma
what I've made
tomatoes?
before, with the exception of the brown sugar. Okay.
Oh, and I'm going to be a real prick and leave out one ingredient just so it's not as good as one. What?
That's great.
What?
That's great. Well, good. Well, I'm glad
Very
you.
good.
Listen, I'm glad this has made you so happy. What I'm going to leave out is the tomatoes.
It's lamb.
Yeah, or you'll screw me up.
Don't
make
scrimp-
it with mushrooms.
Don't scrimp on the ground beef either. Don't make it. There's got to be a good balance ground beef and sauce.
Anyway, Dan, what we'll do is I'll make it. You'll eat it. Rachel and you can eat it, and then maybe next week you can report on the efficacy of the sauce.
Absolutely, love to do that. And then Fred should come out with a cookbook.
Oh,
What,
my
of
God.
the brown sugar recipes?
That'd be great.
Yes. Brown sugar recipes.
So don't worry about bringing anything. I'll have
Okay.
it all. We'll have a little crusty bread and maybe some frisee salad.
Okay.
Just
Is
bring
this
your
like
appetite.
Are we going to be sitting around your island, or is this going to be like a sit-down thing at your table, and you're going to clear that off, and we're going to be sitting there?
I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead.
Clear that off. I love that.
Everything planned. I don't know.
Why don't we eat it in your car? You can clear that off.
Starbucks. Go in and get some napkins.
That's right.
Everyone
We'll
connected
sit
to
outside of
Wi-Fi.
Starbucks so we can watch Netflix on the Wi-Fi in your car. How about that?
Little tablecloth on the console. That'd be
Sure.
great.
All right, Dan.
Tea light in the dash.
What
Yeah.
time will we expect you this evening, sir?
Probably about 6:37 in that area there. Maybe a little bit earlier.
Well, we look forward to it. Fred, anything? Any final thoughts for Dan Duran? Weather?
Watch out for the blobs of fog. There's a few of those around this morning.
And Fred?
No, I was going to say a nice full-bodied cab would go good with that spaghetti. Oh, right, but you don't drink wine. Right?
Yeah.
Well, Dan will.
Yeah, Dan can drink both. Dan can drink it for both of us.
Yeah.
Dan will just
Putting mouth
gulp it. Yeah, I like a nice. What will I have? A nice cranberry and soda, perhaps. Yeah. Maybe I'll just eat
Yes.
clean and go just pure soda water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing that lately.
I like it. Although sometimes I'll put lemonade in my soda water. I find it.
Or just a
enjoyable.
lemon
Yeah.
wedge.
All right, Dan, very good. Dan Duran Weather brought to you by Dan Duran. Mark Hebscher joined us. We're going to talk a little hockey. The coach is gone. Dave White's got a special Humble and Fred presentation. And stick around. More with humbleandfredradio.com.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of fears without crying. Now I want to understand. I have done all that I could to see the evil and the good without hiding. You must help me if you can. Doctor, my eyes, tell me what is wrong. Was I unwise to leave them open for so long? 'Cause I have wandered through this world, and as each moment has unfurled, I've been waiting to awaken from these dreams. People go just where they will. I never noticed them until I got this feeling that it's later than it seems. Doctor, my eyes, tell me what you see. I hear their cries. Just say if it's too late for me. To cry. I'm sure, girl, what I'm looking for is you're all that I need, girl, and more. I seen you feel the gap, yeah. You let me relax, oh, and I've forgotten all I was worried of. You make it feel so right, yeah. You're weaving when I'm wrong, oh, and I wonder what took me so long. Well, could you tell me what took me so long? Ooh, she's got everything looking, everything I'm looking. It's everything I'm looking for. Well, baby, you got everything I need and more. Well, one more time, I'll sing everything I'm looking, everything I'm looking.
Our hearts are free, so tell me what's wrong with the feeling. I'm a flower, you're the bee. It's the joy that
Pleasure to have you along with us. It's Humble and Fred Radio. A couple seconds from now, we'll talk about the biggest stories. The biggest stories always turn out to be hockey related. We had a week and a half at Cherry. And now the coach of the Maple Leafs is no more. We'll check in with one of our buddies, Mark Hebscher, here in a second. First, Freddie P.
Hey, everybody. Use cannabis better. Yes, there are currently thousands of strains available, and everyone processes cannabis differently. That's why they created the Strain Print app. The app allows you to easily track and journal your cannabis experience to better understand the best strains for you and to reach optimal symptom relief and live your best life. Sounds great, doesn't it? Well, you can download the free app at all the usual places, the Strain Print app, or go to strainprint.ca. Follow them on Twitter or Instagram. Really, it can be life-changing.
Speaking of changing your life, Canada's #1 plan for employee benefits, the Chambers Plan. Great for small companies like ours, companies between 1 and 100 employees, because what we get to do is we get to pool all our policies together. So it's simple, it's stable. That way the premiums, they don't increase year to year. Or the thing is, it brings us all together, and that way we all benefit. Smart, stable, simple, and find out more. Chamberplan.ca. Brett Tanner coming in on Monday. Chamber Plan partners with Canada's top independent advisors to give you the best service. Best friend Dave, beside hanging out this morning, he introduced us to our buddy Rod at the Chamber Plan, and now we've been using it for, 5 or 6 years at least.
Yeah,
absolutely.
How long has it been, Phil?
About 5 years now.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. I just hope after Phil uses up his dental this year that the other 30,000 companies don't.
Yeah, I am a bit of a danger, aren't I?
Did you go?
Yeah. So I have to go through 4 different procedures.
4 different procedures.
Yeah. I'm a little
because
sensitive.
after the second procedure, they need to replace the instruments.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, this is a great lesson on staying on top of your dental health.
Uh-huh.
Because if you let it go, you have to go through stuff like that.
Oh yes, and even if you aren't, though, you're covered. That's what matters.
A great point. Is you're covered through the Chamber Plan. Welcome back to our program. One of the bright lights in sports reporting, broadcasting, and a real character, fine fellow in his own right, and has been doing the Hebsy on Sports podcast with our friend Toronto Mike. Mark Hebscher, everybody.
Woo!
I miss you guys. I
Hi,
miss
buddy.
that studio.
Well, we miss you.
Oh, you do not. Come on now.
Oh, you're right.
Phil misses me.
Yeah, I do.
Phil misses me. I know that.
Hey, don't think that we don't have an affection for you, Hebsy. Listen, there's always, when you come in, the three of us, there's always a lot of noise, a lot of yelling, and that's you mostly, but that's fun. It's fun. Listen, man. We wish you nothing but the best, and lots of great success happening with you and Toronto Mike. Give us some official, where do people see your show now? And it's on, what's the video outlet that they use over there?
Periscope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on Periscope and of course the regular podcast way where you subscribe to Spotify or whatever or Apple Music. So however you get your podcast, and then Periscope means we do it live. We just put a phone in front of us and we record. And Periscope is owned by Twitter, and you can watch us talk, which as you know is very exciting to watch people sit and talk.
Yeah.
Or you can just go in the other room and listen to us talk.
Isn't that amazing, Mark, when you think, the early days of Sportsline, of which you were a pioneer, to think that nowadays you can just set that stuff all up by yourself. You couldn't back in the day.
But imagine if you could, Fred? Wouldn't it be great saying, hey, Jim, come on over. We're going to sit in my basement, and we're going to talk sports, and people are going to watch us.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, without all the equipment it took to beam that into our homes. Just want to make sure that everyone gets the name of your podcast right. It's called
Hebsy on Sports.
And today Hebsy's going to we thought we'd check in with you because, of course, the biggest story initially was Don Cherry, but now the coach has been fired.
You know, and I thought of Mark out of the gate because Mark was one of the guys way back in 2015 that wasn't big on the hiring. Right, Mark?
That's right. I wasn't. I didn't see what the big hype was about Mike Babcock. But I think what happened, as I recall, was there was rumors that, Mike Babcock was available, and there were other teams that wanted to improve as well, one of whom, those Buffalo Sabres. And I think the Leafs went, oh, man, we cannot let the Sabres get Mike Babcock. We've got to get Mike Babcock. So they signed him for 8 years and $50 million, which was unheard of for a coach. And that didn't go towards your salary cap or anything like that. So you're paying all this money to a coach. And I went, okay, the guy won a Stanley Cup, but he won a Stanley Cup with Nicholas Lidstrom, Thomas Holmstrom, all these guys. Chris Draper was still around. You had, I think Dominic Hasek might have been on that team still, and Chris Osgood. He had really good hockey players on that squad. Johan Franzen. And so he won a Stanley Cup, which is eons ago. But since then, he is 1-7 in his last 8 playoff series. So, where's this great coach they were talking about? This guy who's going to lead the Leafs into the promised land. He hasn't gotten out of the first round in 3 cracks at it. It's time to go.
Yeah, it's and along the way, he's got some pretty good players now too. But and the dirt on this is that apparently most of the players just couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand the sight of him, got tired of the sound of his voice. Maybe there was a couple of Leafs. Do you know anything about that?
It's true. But I think if you're winning, if you played for Scotty Bowman of the Montreal Canadiens of the 70s, you couldn't stand the sound of his voice, but you kind of liked the Stanley Cup rings. You liked the extra money when you were winning cups. You liked winning, so it's tolerable. But if the team isn't winning and the coach is still harping on the same stuff, it's real easy to just tune the guy out. And I think in this case, that's what happened with Babcock. Was, look, it's not working, Mike. We gave you the players that you wanted. Okay, you don't have a backup goalie, but he was still stubborn with that backup goalie, saying, "Oh, I'm not going to let Freddie Anderson play back-to-back games." Well, why not?
Yeah, Mark, I have a question though. You talk about Scotty Bowman, and a lot of times, we've been using this phrase the last couple of days about losing the room, and it's sort of unique to hockey. But what do you think about the fact that in 2019 players just aren't, they don't listen, they don't get motivated the same way they may have during the 70s and 80s, where a coach, the players on those great teams, they were a little scared of the coach.
Yeah, they were, because the coach would say, look, if you don't play well, here's a bus ticket to whatever your minor league team is. You could threaten a guy with demoting him. You could threaten a guy with taking away his ice time. But with guaranteed contracts now and so much focus on a particular, a guy saying, well, how come he's not playing? Like, if you remember last year, Austin Matthews in Game 7 against Boston in the playoffs, he didn't play, he wasn't on the number 1 line.
Yeah, he barely played in the third period.
Yeah, so right then and there, you've got to be saying to yourself, okay, really, they lost again to Boston in 7 games. Should we fire Babcock now, or should we give him another season? And they said, oh, let's give him one more season. And while we're at it, let's go and get Tyson. Let's trade Nazem Kadri. Let's go and get Tyson Barrie. Let's acquire Cody Ceci. We'll get rid of Zaitsev. We'll make all these changes, and we'll present these guys to Babcock. But if he doesn't do the job in the first 20 games, we've got to get rid of him, because we've got Sheldon Keefe waiting with the Marlies. And I think that was the plan all along, was they knew that Sheldon Keefe was going to be the next coach of the Leafs. The question was, when was he going to become the next coach of the Leafs?
I think there was a bit of a grudge match there, too, between him and Dubas. You could see it with, the Jason Spezza thing in the opening night. Dubas brought Spezza in. Babcock didn't like that, so he screws him the first night. And then with this Tyson Barrie misusing him, I think, because he wasn't big on him being brought in.
Mm-hmm.
And on and on and on. But this.
And what about the captain? What about that, Fred? What about all the time that was taken? Who's going to be the captain of this team? It's so important to be the captain of the Maple Leafs.
Right.
We've got to pick a captain. There were too many distractions. Mm-hmm. This year, you also had the Marner situation where, is he going to sign? Is he not going to sign? Now, that's not Babcock's fault. But that comes into, the coach still has to deal with who he's got. And, you look at that roster, they should be winning a lot more than they are. They're not playing good hockey. His system isn't working, and you got to make a change.
How much responsibility is the players, though?
Right.
Oh, a lot.
Because, I know, I know a coach is important in hockey. Mm-hmm. But you got high-skilled, elite players that have been elite and highly skilled for their whole lives. How come they just can't play hockey?
Great
Because
question.
As individuals, if you look at them individually, say, oh, Nylander, he's a great individual player. Kapanen, Marner, Matthews, I can go on and on. But obviously, fitting them in together and saying, okay, you play well with this guy. And I don't think he ever got that. I think, this year he had started the season without Zach Hyman, who was a key guy on that line with Marner and John Tavares. So right off the bat, you're starting your season without your top left winger, who, by the way, played 3 or 4 games with like a broken knee or something in the playoffs last year. So he wasn't ready to go. You've got these new guys like, okay, Tyson Berry, I want you to meet Jake Muzzin. Oh, yeah, Cody Ceci, I'd like you to meet Travis Dermott. Oh, sorry, Travis Dermott, he's still hurt. So you never had your full roster. I guess Babcock would argue that he didn't get enough games in with his full complement of players, and now Marner's injured and Kerfoot's out. But still, it's the coach's job to take what he's got and to turn them into a machine. It's not like they had the toughest schedule in the world, and they started the season, every game they had to play was either against Boston or Tampa or, some juggernaut team. They had a pretty easy schedule as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, and I would address that thing. Since January 1st of last year, they're about the 27th best team in the league, and everybody has injuries, and everybody has ups and downs. But now we put the death clock on Sheldon Keefe, because he's got a great track record and he's been successful everywhere, and now he's in this lion's den, and I'm sure it will probably end like all the others.
In horrible disappointment.
Seriously.
No,
I mean, you know what I mean? It's all on the players now. You got rid of your coach that you didn't like, so let's perform, guys. But that collection, I don't hold out much hope. But anyway.
No, I don't either. And I think that, you can't expect a guy to come into the National Hockey League, regardless of the talent he's got on the team, and just turn things around like that. I mean, the thing last year with the St. Louis Blues was a complete fluke. I mean, the other, number one is Craig Berube already had NHL coaching experience with the Philadelphia Flyers, and he was an assistant coach at the time of the firing of Mike Yeo. But it didn't happen immediately. He was appointed in November, and they didn't turn it around until January when they got this rookie goalie named Jordan Binnington, who was lights out. Now, unless Freddie Anderson begins to play lights out for Sheldon Keefe, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be. I think every game the Leafs play from here on in, there's going to be incredible scrutiny.
Yeah, I was going to say, this isn't going to help those kids, because having said what we've just said, now it's on them, and that pressure, along with the pressure of playing in this market.
Yeah.
This Sheldon guy, good luck to him, but it's going to be tough for him because, as you just said, every game forward now is, all right, boys, this is now the guy you hate is gone.
You guys are great. It was the coach that stopped you from being great. So,
hey, Mark, we're just going to wrap things up quickly. We've had endless discussions, as I'm sure you and Toronto Mike have, about Don Cherry, and we were so lucky to have him. He called me the other night. We had a great chat. We're hoping to get him in here, but just a couple of minutes of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but I'll tell you this, and I think I might have mentioned this to Freddie years ago. This might be 20 years ago. I used to travel with the Maple Leafs, and I was part of their broadcast team, and I spent a lot of time with Don Cherry, and I'm talking, having beers, having meals on the road, talking about stuff, and he said to me, he said, I can't believe that I'm sort of still working. I don't think he intentionally did it, but I think every week on Coach's Corner, he tried something that was going to be outrageous to see how his bosses would react. And they never did react in the way that he thought. They never did call him on the carpet, maybe once or twice. But I think he kept thinking, maybe I can get away with a little bit more. Maybe I can get away with a little bit more. And there was no safety net there for Don. There was no one that said, Don, one more time, and we got to let you go. And then he just went too far. Not intentionally, they just sort of let him be that kind of grumpy guy. And when he said, you people, as soon as he said that, I went, this might be it, especially in today's day and age. You can get away with that in 1999. Yeah. You might have been able to get away with that in 2009, but not in 2019.
Well, let me tell you guys.
That wraps it up, yeah.
Yeah, just a couple days ago, the U.S. News top 20 countries with the best quality of life put Canada at the top again. And this is one of the reasons, because these are the big issues. Babcock, Don Cherry, the guy coming from Brampton, Hebsy on sports.
No, that's right. It's a wonderful country, isn't it?
Yeah. And one more thing before I go, and Freddie, you know this more than anyone. Sheldon Keefe was a real key character in one of the craziest hockey crime stories of all time. That guy, David Frost. Sheldon, this is a long time ago now, but Sheldon Keefe was the guy who, like, he was best friends with Mike Danton, who had a murder for hire. David Frost went to jail for 7.5 years.
That's
it was
right.
a whole story. And this David Frost was their coach, and they hated him at the time so much. And
What, they had him killed?
Well, they tried to. Yeah, they tried to have him killed, tried to have him bumped off. So when you talk about coaches and the control that they have,
right?
Sheldon Keefe's history with this guy David Frost. I mean, I don't know. Sheldon Keefe might be the guy to close the door and say, "All right, you mothers."
Yeah.
Anybody steps out of line, okay, and pulls a shotgun out or something.
Well, no, exactly. He could just say, "Hey, I've had people killed. You better back check."
Yeah, that was a seedy story. People might want to Google that today, and I you know what? I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
David
so
Frost
Sheldon
was
Keefe has a history of being of coaching and being a very successful coach in the minors and in junior and in the American Hockey League. He has the best record of any coach in the history of the American Hockey League winning percentage. He has a winning percentage of .672, higher than any coach in American Hockey League history.
Well, his life's about to change.
That has anything to do with the NHL.
His life's about to get way darker.
That's right. Thanks, Hebsy.
Thanks, Mark. Hey, Mark, if you were still doing sports, was it Sportsline, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you were still doing that, or maybe writing for a newspaper, would you not want to see the headline, "Babcock circumcised"? No? Nobody? Just me? Thanks, my friend.
Oh, you guys are the best.
Thanks,
you.
pal. Take care.
Okay.
Tell your friends. They're the best. Come on, that's just laying there.
Yeah.
What is?
Babcock circumcised.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that.
He's been cut.
Okay.
Right?
I'm sorry, it's not some of your funny brown
I missed
sugar
that.
humor.
I'm sorry. I think I was having a sip of coffee.
Those are
when you
called
said-
jokes. Let's get Dave in here. Come on, Babcock circumcised.
Yeah, that's great.
Get his
That
breast.
was, he had his breast. There's another one.
There he is.
A breast for Babcock.
That's it. That's it.
I tried so many times to do a joke in my act about Babcock, and people weren't having it.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Wonder why.
Well, because they take it very seriously, this hockey.
Yep.
Amanda Barker, our friend Dave White is here.
Yeah, Dave White is here.
White, I saw him just recently.
It's been months in the planning.
Yeah.
Coming in.
Were you wearing the same shirt yesterday afternoon?
Hang on.
It is, isn't it?
No.
No?
No, I have several of these.
Oh, because the one yesterday afternoon, the one you were wearing was covered in popcorn and M&Ms.
That's
right. By the way,
and despair.
Yes. He and I are so old now. We go to movies together once a week or once every couple of weeks. We try to go to a movie.
Oh,
and,
that's
it's our little thing. We go, usually it's like a 6 o'clock or 6:30, 7 o'clock. But now is to the point we went to a 3 o'clock movie yesterday. And then we walk in. It's 3 in the afternoon. As we're parking the car, we see like a couple. They're 20 years older than both of us. You know, he's got a walker.
Right.
And she's stumbling around in her sweatpants. I say to him, "These are our people."
Yeah. That's you.
These are the 3 o'clock in the afternoon movie people.
Yay.
M&M's plain or peanut?
Oh, we could. Peanuts.
Peanuts.
Yeah.
We go peanuts,
Okay.
man. And then we get small butter popcorn. I don't like to share because, he's got his big Dave hands in there. I don't know what he's been doing.
I love that it's we get. Like you.
Yeah, it's our order. We do.
We have a system.
The huge?
No, we did because we ordered small butter popcorn layered, M&M's peanuts, and medium and small Diet Coke. And
Oh my
literally that was,
God.
I ordered it, and the guy said, "And you, sir?" He goes, "Yeah, what he's having."
And we get high as a monkey in the
We
car.
get so
What did you see?
so high. We saw Ford versus Ferrari.
How was it?
Really good.
Yeah.
This Matt Damon kid and what's his face?
Christian Bale.
Yeah, really good.
Oh, that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's I love, for some reason lately, Fred, I've been watching a lot of sort of more historical period stuff. And,
Right.
What was that?
That was
No, I
my
didn't know it.
foot
Okay.
hitting the
But
pole.
it's interesting that time in the world, the mid 60s, early 60s, and just to see how, what life really looked like when we were kids and the way the Ford company developed those cars and the beginning of the Mustang and
That was amazing.
yeah.
I have a gift for you guys.
Well, we're going to get there.
Okay.
But
All
so...
You have several of those shirts?
I do.
Right.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
Because Dave, air bosses.
Yeah.
Air shows.
Air shows.
Yeah, I could see you digging for that
I
word.
was thinking planes in the sky or...
the things.
Maybe you shouldn't wear them 2 days in a row, though, because then people think you're wearing the same shirt.
I thought of that, but then I didn't care.
Yeah, plus now that exactly.
Content.
Now that I remember, I saw you late last week. You were also wearing a Dave White Air Boss shirt.
No way, really?
Yeah, for sure.
It's your uniform.
It's what I wear to work now.
I have several black T-shirts because I slop stuff around.
Same with me.
And I could look like I'm wearing the same shirt day after day.
This is very in now. It's called the capsule wardrobe.
Really?
That's what you're nailing. Yeah, capsule.
Yeah, it's what Steve Jobs did. He wore the same thing every day.
Yep.
I wore a shirt inside out for an entire day last week until I saw Rachel, and she says, "Honey, you know your shirt's inside out." I went, "I did not know that."
Did you have meetings or grown-up things to do?
Probably.
Remember back in the day, the late 90s, George Stroumboulopoulos used to wear black all the time. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Like black T-shirts all the time.
Yeah.
And at first I'd think, boy, he's always wearing the same clothes.
But
he wasn't. He
never
was
has to worry.
switching.
I went to
Because that
work
was
once
the
with
look.
two
That
different
was the
shoes
brand.
I went to work once with two different shoes on, like different colors and everything.
Oh, wow.
And
Like
it was
bows of the
halfway
clock.
through the day before I looked down and went, oh.
What?
those are
Really?
one was brown, one was black.
Didn't you feel lopsided?
And it wasn't in style at the time.
Well, listen. Our
they were
boy,
both dress shoes.
Our
right?
man Phil's been wearing the same shoes since 2011, easily.
But to wear two different shoes on two different feet, I feel like you'd feel it. You'd be like, what's
think
wrong
so.
with my left
Yeah, you'd
foot?
think you'd have that kind of body awareness.
I didn't really have that.
So,
kind of awareness.
many months ago, actually, a lot of months ago, he made an arrangement with you, I think.
Yeah, it was a while
to
ago.
come in on this day.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, Frederick, I have no idea what is about to take place. I don't know if it's one of those initiation things where he's going to try and haze us or
No.
you know.
He's got some
hazing.
Amway to
Where's
sell
the
you.
broom?
No, hazing.
Yeah.
I've got a whole team of university
I was
sophomore
thinking-
outside that are going to come in and
Where's the grapes and the broom?
give you guys wedgies or something.
Oh yeah, we were thinking way further down the road. Yeah.
We're ignorant.
You went straight to the broom.
Oh, right,
Okay.
right to the broom and the grapes.
Yeah, this isn't a private school in Toronto. Anyway,
So, yeah, please, come on, Phil, this is serious.
You don't make jokes.
no, you're not
No,
supposed
those
to.
are off air jokes.
Sorry about that. So it goes back to the Humble and Fred 30 thing, and you guys were supposed to have a party while I was going to be away in the next few weeks. So this
Right,
all
Humble and
became
Fred,
arranged.
HF30.
Right.
HF30.
But now
So-
HF31 is going to be a thing because
Right.
it's just different.
Well, I'm not redoing this for 31. So this was an HF30 gift.
Okay,
And,
all right. And if you're watching us on Twitch or Facebook, Dave's lovingly wrapped this thing.
Well, I asked somebody to.
Okay.
But and
It's
Amanda,
very large.
Amanda had a hand in this, and so did Lumby.
Lumby did too, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Lumby.
long-
I just saw the Lumby man 2 days ago. He
It's
said
just-
nothing.
This has been
Open her up.
months in the
Okay.
works.
Should we
Yes,
get
it
Lumby
has.
on the phone?
You want it?
Sure.
We could. Here. I take my headphones off here. Ow. Damn it. Okay, Fred. Freddie, look.
And he's
Here you go.
unwrapping.
Revealing.
And he's
My
unwrapping.
God. Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Look at
Table of
this.
broken. Oh.
Uh-oh, table of broken dreams.
Oh.
Look at that, everyone. On this very table, stolen from Fred's kitchen and detailed by...
Defiled.
Defiled by Howard multiple times. Just once. Twice. On October 17th, Humble and Fred Radio Dog. I was born. The internet has never recovered HF. Aww.
Woo!
That's amazing. David White.
Isn't that nice?
Thank you, David. Thank you, David.
Lamabite.
Lamabite.
That's why you wanted that thing.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that. Now that came from the original Humble and Fred radio table, which was what? Your dining room table.
Yes.
Well, here, we'll call Lummy during the break.
Okay.
Well, this is David. Well, first of all, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, you can tell us how it was
that like
made.
Carved like right in?
It's like a sign kind of thing.
So what did Lummy do to this?
He helped me with the text, and so did Amanda.
He was workshopping what to
Oh,
write.
you guys were
Yeah, yeah.
workshopping. You had like a... Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Focus group. Lumby and I were the focus group.
That's really sweet, you guys. And we're going to... we should put that up somewhere.
Yeah, you should.
Like hang it next to the thing over here, the Toronto sign.
Right. Although that's pretty heavy, we're going to have to come up with something.
Well, I can come down and
We have to get
Can
some.
you do that?
me or Dan can come and put
Dan
a
will look at
chain
this,
or
and
something.
he'll get some brackets.
Dan can do that in exchange for the spaghetti dinner. Mm-hmm.
All right. You're such a dick. You're funny. David, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Look at that, Fred. Man, if we'd only gone through with H&F 30. If we'd only gone through with
You
it.
are. That's
We
what
are. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You are right now by talking about it.
All right, don't jump on me. See, some of these are jokes, like Babcock circumcised. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Thank you, David. It's Humble and Fred Radio on Funny 820 and around the world at humbleandfredradio.com.
And he rubbed a pot roast all over his chest. Excitable boy, they all said. Well, he's just an excitable boy. He took in the 4 a.m. show at the Clark. Excitable boy, they all said. hangs behind the glass above Venetian doors. His window box boasts crimson flowers, fresh cut the day before.
And welcome back. It's Humble and Fred Radio. Great to be with you in Southern Ontario. Hey, Hamilton, thanks for having us. We appreciate you hosting our program. Hamilton is ground zero for the Humble and Fred daily broadcast, heard all over Southern Ontario on about, 3 or 4 different stations, part of the Bell family. Of course, every day you can download the show. There's lots of other stuff going on at humbleandfredradio.com. Watch us Facebook Live and on Twitch. And on the phone is Jefferson Lumbee from Jefferson Creative, Acton International Headquarters. How you doing?
I prefer Rockwood.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rockwood is the international headquarters of Jefferson Creative. It's kind of weird because I've had Dan Duran on the show today. Dave's sitting here. You're on the phone. That pretty much does it. That's my entire... Well, all we need now is Fraser, and that's it. Those are my 4 friends. And you. 5 friends. So thanks, Lumbee.
Can I just say one thing before we get any further?
Yeah, man.
They didn't like the sound of his voice. Oh, those poor little maple leaves. Oh. Do they have a safe room they could go to get better?
That's great.
That's funny. Yeah, they got all triggered and activated, and they didn't like him anymore. They said, we don't like you.
It's the cancel culture, Fred.
It's the what?
Cancel culture. They canceled him.
Yeah, I know they did. And now it's all on them.
I feel bad for Babcock, even though I know he probably wasn't the best guy for the job. But man, oh man, those guys are getting paid a fortune to do their job.
I said that, Jeff. I said the same thing. We were talking to Mark Hebscher a few minutes ago. I said, I know the coach is important. Football and hockey probably particularly, but they're hockey players. They're the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you're on the rink. Just play.
And they think Sheldon Keefe is going to make William Nylander actually go into a corner. Sorry, that's a no-go zone for him.
Well, it's funny. Hebsy made the best point of all when he said that Scotty Bowman, was a pretty ruthless coach, but I think they liked winning Stanley Cups, and that was a great point.
Yeah.
But also, it was a different era when the coach could make a difference in a player's life. A coach could send a player down, and since you have guaranteed contracts, it's tough to scare a guy that's making $7 million a year, whether he plays well or not.
You know what? That's why I love the NFL, because Antonio Brown, the greatest receiver in the NFL right now, doesn't have a job because he's what he is.
Yep.
And the Patriots wouldn't put up with him, and they cut him.
That's right. Yep. Nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. And deliver or go away.
And Jeff, like you and I were talking the other day, I said it's one of the reasons I love golf is because every week you're judged on your performance, and if you don't perform, you don't get paid.
That's it.
The sad thing is now this fine young fella from Brampton, Sheldon Keefe, now he's going to probably suffer the same fate as so many before him. And especially with this collection of players that are just...
Well, I on Facebook, I call them, the new future ex-coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm. Hey, just quickly before we talk about the table, you didn't like Babcock circumcised as a headline? Come on.
I loved it. It's very funny. You're a funny man.
All right, Lumbee. Now, Dave White's here. Hello, Dave. Yeah. Hey, Lumbee. Hold on. Dave White's mic needs to be on. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Lumbee.
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, buddy.
Seriously, just a few more people, and we'd have my 50th birthday party. Hey, so what is the genesis? Amanda's here, because Dave was just saying to us during the break that you 3 brainstormed the table.
Yes.
How did that work?
I explained we were the focus group for Dave. We were the focus group for Dave's vision, ultimately.
Of what to write on the table.
Yes, and I think Dave completely ignored my suggestion, but that's fine.
No, actually, I think didn't he come up with Table of Broken Dreams?
I think so, yeah. Defiled. Was that you or was that him?
I'm pretty sure Defiled was me.
That wasn't me.
Well, Lumbee, what are you saying? What was your suggestion? I think that the calling it Table of Broken Dreams is very funny.
Okay, well, good then.
All right. Well, but you see, with Jeff, if you don't take everything he said, then he will no longer give you advice.
Why?
Oh, I've heard that about Lumbee.
Jeff,
out of the advice game.
Jeff, why did you have like another idea that you would have liked to have seen on there?
I don't know. This was like 10 months ago. I don't remember where I was yesterday. So
It was a while ago. Yeah, it's been a long process.
Yeah, speaking of not knowing where you were, I go to lunch in Milton on Monday at 11:30. I'm at a restaurant, and it's like 11:40, and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm a little early. Jeff has to get here 11:45. I'm like, text Lumbee, where are you? He goes, I'm at home. We're supposed to meet tomorrow.
It was one of my most favorite days ever on this planet.
I know. And I'm like, what? And then this is a true story because I was talking to Jeff, and then I get a call from Fraser, and then I hang up on Jeff, and Fraser says, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in Milton by myself. I'm supposed to have lunch with Lumbee." He goes, "Hang on, I'll be there in 15 minutes."
Was
it
it
all worked out?
Was it the new Monday?
Yes. Shut up.
And by the way, you know how Howard tends to embellish? It was 11:31 when he texted me.
Whatever.
So what happened? Did Jeff drive down right away, or did you?
Fraser did.
Oh, okay, but you met with Jeff eventually. What,
The next day when we were
Okay.
supposed to meet. We were supposed to meet. Anyway. All right,
So you
Lumbee.
got 2 lunches.
I had Fraser lunch, Jeff lunch. I've seen Fraser, Jeff, and Dave all in the same week, so it's big for me. And I'm going to see Dan tonight.
Dan.
And, of course, Stan Duran over there.
Stan.
Well, and I just want to say I can't wait. I've yet to see the actual table, so I can't wait to see the table.
Well, it's beautiful.
We will send you a photo.
Yeah, it'll be all over Facebook. And, Jeff, thanks for taking our call.
And Dave, thanks for championing the idea, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very nice.
Hey,
Very
thanks for responding when I needed help with the text. You guys were awesome.
Yeah, and just for you people who are asking Jeff for advice, just know this: if you ask him for advice and you don't take everything he says, then you are no longer allowed for advice to offering.
Or anything, I say.
That's right. All right, buddy. I'll see you soon.
Talk soon, guys. Take care.
Thanks,
See you,
Jeff.
Jeff.
There's Jeff.
Bye.
All right, buddies. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. You're a good boy. Thank you very much.
I really didn't want to get into it, and I'm sure he's listening right. Leafs will still finish ahead of the Habs. Just
saying.
Yeah. But
Is
I didn't want to get into that.
Is that where
huh?
Babcock's going?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's an interesting observation about this new guy coming in because, you know, I've seen several posts where people reposted what was said. Excuse me, in 2015, the second coming, like this was another guy that was gonna be the savior of the team, and I don't know I know Hebster said he didn't think it was a good idea. What did you think in 2015?
No, I thought it was a good idea at the time. They needed a coach, and yeah, because I was in. I thought, you know, profile, and he's got some success. I was all right with it. But the thing is about this team, I was saying to Hebsher last night as well. You know, through all the lean years, I still like some of the teams. I like Dougie, and they had Daryl and Wendell. There was something about those teams you like. I really do not like this team. Like, they are really unlikable. And because they come with such money and such fanfare and such rep and don't deliver, it makes them unlikable.
I heard they were talking about you the other night, and they said they didn't like you either.
Well, good. Good.
All right, listen, we got other stuff. I love you. Congratulations.
I wanted to talk about a couple of your sponsors. Remember?
Oh yes. Before Dave goes, and by the way, Dave's on his way to Hawaii. If you're wondering what Dave's schedule is, and then Las Vegas for a big air show convention. Barker's on her way to Bahrain. We're all traveling.
And you guys are.
I'm on my way to Brampton.
I'm going upstairs after the show. Upstairs back
major
to sleep.
travel.
You went to Milton this week, friend.
Yeah. Twice.
I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell Fred that because I was so embarrassed. I just got the day wrong, and I'm sitting there in an empty Montana's.
Well,
like a dude. Yeah, Milton Montana's.
Especially when you have Alzheimer's in your family.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And the lead singer of Spirit of the West just died.
I just played
What a
that.
segue.
We're going to talk
What a
about that.
segue, yeah.
John Mann, I'd asked you guys earlier if you remember Spirit of the West. One of those great CFNY bands. We'll get to that in a second. That's why I want you to tell your sponsor story, and then...
Well, I'm involved with 3 of your sponsors, of course. The first one is Chambers Plan that I introduced you guys to.
That's right.
And I'm a little concerned that the entire 30,000 companies' rates are going up because they had to get construction equipment to deal with his
Well,
teeth.
no, they had to get the. You know what they did is they got the Chilean miners back together.
Right, and they got.
He doesn't like that.
He came in. He opened his mouth. They said, "Oh, we need a hammer,
You like that?
and chisels and grinders and
Hey,
stuff."
miners, we've got a job to do.
Yeah.
They're like the Power Rangers.
They're like,
Okay, so you're already involved in the Chamber's plan, which is why we are.
Yeah, and Sherpa deals with my entire company now. The kids, my stepdaughter. We were just talking about Yana during the break because she went to Ivy, and Amanda doesn't work with Ivy.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
And she's looking to invest money now because she wants to buy a house in 2 years. So she's sending all the money to Sherps to deal with that. And the last one is a shout out to Rudra. So I lent my hotspot to a friend of mine who went to Vietnam, Catherine, who's a listener to your show too. And she took it to Vietnam for 2 weeks, and she was having an issue with it, I think, because I didn't teach her how to use it properly, from Vietnam. And Rudra's texting, a chat at 10 and 11 o'clock at night, starting out her issue from Vietnam.
Wow.
And, just amazing. So, but yeah.
You know, that's such a great story about Rudra, because that's what happened the first time I used the hotspot. I went to the UK for the golf thing I went on, and I couldn't get it to work. And it was, 11 o'clock at night in London. And I'm on the phone with Rudra. We're going back and forth. And that's it. Listen, you're not going to get Rudra to do customer support, but that's indicative of the kind of customer support you get from that company.
Yeah. Exactly. The company's amazing.
Yeah, really, really good.
They're always available for you. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you, my friend.
Fantastic.
Thank you, my
Fantastic.
friend. Dave White.
See you guys.
Best friend.
Dave White.
Dave White. Dave is up to Dave White weather.
Fantastic.
Can you take that, Phil? Sure. And Dave? Phil, be careful now. It's
that
heavy.
has weight and girth.
We're talking about the table now.
Yes.
Not Dan Duran.
Yeah.
Not Dan Duran's weather.
Someday I'm going to get here. Where's Howard? And he's going to call me from his bedroom and go, how do I get there again?
No
He's going to need roaming coverage.
No. Why? Because I have Alzheimer's?
A hot spot in his bedroom.
That's right.
Humble outside.
See you, Dave.
Hey,
Bye, Dave.
Have fun in Hawaii.
I won't see you for 3 weeks now.
Yes.
All right. Well, safe travels, my brother. Dave and I have traveled together. He's fun to travel with.
I bet. He's a good time Charlie.
He's a good time Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, you asked me yesterday morning about an adventure, and I mentioned that I'd flown at night with Dave, and we were over, what's the lake over there near Sarnia? What's that lake? Is that
Lake St. Clair?
No, the lake that you crossed.
The Great Lake?
Huron?
Lake Huron. Yeah.
Huron.
So we're
isn't it?
crossing Lake Huron at night, and we're on our way somewhere, and we're about to land. And it's about, 10:30, 11. I'm flying the plane. Then things are fine. And then Dave, the little pedals on a plane are called rudders. And on both sides of the plane, you have both controls. And all of a sudden, I'm controlling the plane. And all of a sudden, Dave kicks the rudder.
By accident?
No.
Oh.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh.
He wanted to jiggle the plane. I'm like, what are you doing? Because usually when you're the pilot in charge, the other person tells you before they do something.
You don't want jiggling.
I don't want jiggling.
Mm-hmm.
I said to him,
rudder?
I should have had him be here when I told the story, because I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm a little concerned about the fuel. And I said, so why are you doing that? Why are you kicking the rudder? He goes, I just want to see if we can get the gauge to move, because we were kind of getting low on funeral. Fuel. So once he showed me that, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a cool little trick. So all the way across the lake, I'm banging the rudder to make sure I can see that the fuel's still in there, because it was getting dangerously low. So you asked me about adventures. Anyway, we were fine. Obviously,
what would
we're
you
here.
have done, though?
I don't know.
Wait, and how would you put yourself in that position?
Well, we weren't. I'm making it sound more dire than it was. We were almost across the lake, so we were starting to come in to where we were going to land, but I didn't know that was a trick that pilots can do. You can just kick the rudder just to move the needle a little bit.
And why do you want to move the needle?
Just to make sure that there was, because we were getting lower.
Because that's not going to put more fuel in
No,
there.
it's not.
Oh, it would.
It didn't.
It just changes the indicator.
All right. Anyway,
It just gives you a more accurate reading.
Yeah, well, it was just to make sure that it was
To see that it was working.
And
Yeah.
Nesty Daniels is going to be our guest in the next 20 minutes. He's got some fun stuff to do. He's going to be doing some comedy music. Just sold out a run at the 2019 Toronto Fringe Festival. So, and Nesty's brought his guitar, which makes it even better. Because a lot of times people be like, yeah, I just want to come on and talk, but you do song. Yeah, I don't want to sing on your show, though. What do you want to do here, Fred? Should we talk a little bit about the Sherpa? I mean, Dave just mentioned.
Yes.
If we can just sort of give him his thing, and then we'll talk to Barker about the Spirit of the West.
Yeah.
Tim Niblett is a portfolio manager, and Raymond James is a member of the Canadian Investors Protection Fund. Yesterday, he talked about individual pension plans, who they are for, usually business owners and top executives, to be honest, but we have business owners and top executives listening to the show, don't you know? So intelligent. All the benefits of an individual pension plan, how they work, who they're for. He explained it all, and if you want more information, go to retirementsherpa.ca and talk to Tim personally.
Yeah, John Mann is the gentleman who passed away from a band that we played a lot in the early 90s, Spirit of the West.
Yeah.
John out of Calgary, Alberta. And it's another one of those bands that we would have played a lot during our time. And not that we ignored it, just like, oh, here's another great Canadian band.
Mm-hmm.
Beaver.
Yeah, another beaver, exactly. Do you know that expression?
No, is it CanCon thing? Yeah.
Our boss used to call them beavers.
Yeah.
Did you guys have to play new music too? Or
On our show?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Like 20% the new music?
No,
50%?
30%. No, 30%.
30% CanCon?
No, when you first started there, within the CFNY license, that was sort of the hook.
Because college radio, I worked college radio, and it was always 20% new music, 30%, I think, CanCon.
Yeah. But then it was relaxed over the years.
And this would hit us both, so you'd play it all the time. Yeah.
No, that's an interesting point. I don't know what our new to whatever rate. In the morning show, we tended to play the most familiar music.
Right.
Sure.
And so a song like this might come out, and you would hear it on middays and afternoon evenings, and then eventually we would play.
Yeah.
Once it became real popular.
Oh my God, this song.
Yeah, once it became familiar, yeah.
I'll tell you, as a Canadian who's traveled, and a lot of us have as Canadians, this song on Canada Day, when you're abroad celebrating Canada Day, for me, this is Korea. The Canadian consulate in Korea had a big party, big barbecue, and it was this song. I still have a joke with my friend in LA because I was going crazy to this song and my top came off.
Ooh, Spirit of your West.
And Marco kept going, tits, babe, tits. Am I allowed to say tits?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and he kept going, babe,
We
your
know what they
tits,
are.
tits, babe.
Titties.
And to this day, she still goes, tits, babe, tits, tits, babe.
Oh, so they were totally exposed?
Yeah, I had a red bandana. I was trying to find Canadian, like red and white, and I had a red bandana on. And anyway, I have so many memories of this song.
This song, if you didn't know it was a Canadian band, you'd feel it has such a Celtic feel.
Yeah, you think
and the
it's
way
Irish
John
song,
Mann
yeah.
sings it, it's almost like he's not putting it on, but it makes you. It has such a feel of that
Yeah.
you'd be, it could be an Irish band or the Pogues or something like that.
But yeah, and this was my university, and this song was the song, like you'd always take a beer and shake it up, and everybody would go crazy on the dance floor.
So he's 50-some-odd years old. He dies from Alzheimer's disease.
So sad.
Early onset.
How does it kill you eventually?
What
happens?
You know what? I had this. Even though I had my mother passed away
Right.
from it, I don't know. I mean, eventually, what happens? Your body shuts down. Now, my mother's official cause of death at 66 or 67. I think she had some stomach cancer as well. But it was the kind of thing where when they found it, it wasn't worth treating it, considering how advanced she was.
Nice.
My question is, he gets diagnosed at age 51, and in 6 years is dead. That's the part I don't even now understand. Like, why did it?
It shuts down your breathing. You forget to do all the things. First, you start forgetting things.
Right.
Then you
Wow.
start forgetting how to eat. Then you start forgetting. Eventually, you forget how to breathe. I mean, that's the very bare bones version of it. But that's
Right,
what
your
happens.
body stops remembering
Yeah.
how to do its
How to do
base function.
That's it. It's awful. It's an awful way to go.
Yeah, I don't think there's any in my family, but it's just a horrible, horrible, cruel disease, man.
It is, and to be honest, a lot like Howard said, a lot of people who have it die of something else. Like my father-in-law ultimately died because he was aspirating, choking. But when you watch people that are going through it, it's actually surprising that it was so quick.
Yeah, that's the part that
Did he didn't have any assisted death, did he?
I don't know. He did have cancer and beat it. I don't know if that happened before or after. I'm a little shaky on the timeline for him, but there's a documentary. I just was kind of looking at it a little bit. If you're curious.
Well,
the documentary, I'm looking for the name of it. Anyway, somebody that is close to them did a documentary once John was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and so it's his struggle to continue to they continue to tour and make music, and
That's right.
how he had to start looking at the lyrics on iPads and things. Anyway, it's a crappy way to go.
Horrible.
I know that radiation from cancer treatment can kickstart it or put it into high gear. I know that was sort of the case for us and
Really?
our family. Yeah. So when you have the radiation, like in my father-in-law's case, he had prostate cancer, which was very, very common and very treatable.
And slow, probably. Yeah.
But that radiation kind of was like, oh, he's getting forgetful. And they said, well, that's part of the radiation can start that. And it never went away. It got worse. So there might be something to that, some link in that as well, that kind of started. Because, it's radiation is really, really hard on everything on your body.
So in later years, Alan Doyle, Jim Cuddy, Sarah McLachlan, and Ed Robertson recorded a rendition of Home for a Rest to help raise money.
Oh, did they really?
For
I've
man's
never heard
extent.
that.
Yeah, well, you're about to hear it now. Here it is. Here's their version. Alan Doyle, Sarah McLachlan.
For a month, I've been drunk since I left. And these so-called vacations will soon be my death. I'm so sick from the drink. I need home for
And a 1, 2, 3. We arrived in December and London was cold. We stayed in the bars down on Charing Cross Road. We never saw nothing but brass taps and oak. Kept the shine on the bar with the sleeves of our coats. You'll have to excuse me, I'm not at my best. I've been gone for a month. I've been drunk since I left. And these so-called vacations will soon be my death. I'm so sick from the drink, I need home for a rest.
Isn't that great? The support of Canadian artists. I'm not surprised, but it's just great. You can hear Ed Robertson's voice there, Sarah McLachlan, obviously, Jim Cuddy.
It's a great rendition.
It is, and Alan Doyle.
I was going to say, isn't talent something? Jeez. Hearing these people. Wow.
Yeah. In the final years, his friends rallied around him, participating in the Spirit of John fundraising concerts.
Yeah.
But 57, that's pretty young.
That's pretty young to die of Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Wow.
My brothers and I, we sort of joke about, when we forget, I went to the wrong lunch this week.
Right. Twice. Oh, no, just twice.
Okay. But, whenever those things come up, Stephen and David and I, we always joke so, how you think you're getting it? And I go, I don't know. You
think
you're getting it? But my mother had, by her mid-50s, for sure, 55, 54, 56, something like that, I don't remember, was diagnosed. And she was still cognitive enough. When she said to me once, she said, why did this happen, or why me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whatever the words were, I was like, she was aware enough that she'd been diagnosed with something. And in the, when was that? The late 80s, early 90s, because she died in 94, the year that Charlie was born. It was still fairly new. We were the only people I knew that had that in our family.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's quite common, obviously, but at the time it wasn't as common.
And it's so, most of us take every day for granted, just assuming it's never going to be us. And then you look at a guy like this, or, I've had a friend die of a heart attack at 41, another brain cancer. We've all had friends go early. And you just often wonder, why them? Why did their number come up? And it just shows that any one of us at any given day could get
Idris,
right?
Could get the news.
He was a young buck, man.
Sean had a friend just a few days ago, same age as Sean, 29, right?
Yep.
Pass away, heart attack.
Oh, 29, a heart attack?
Yes, people die, Amanda.
Oh, my God.
But that's obviously a mechanical fault, I'm sure. You know what I mean? As opposed to abuse.
Yeah. Well, and Idris was 29.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Is he 29? Yeah.
Anyhow, we're all here, and we're happy you are as well. It's Humble and Fred Radio. We're live on Funny 820. We'll come on back live on Twitch and Facebook as well if you want to watch the show, if you have a chance. And in a little bit, we'll get some fun Yes, and Esty's going, great. I get to follow 15 minutes of Rockstar Death. This will be great. Can't wait. It's my dream. Could you guys do some more stuff where people are dead and talk about how there's no life is useless and
fleeting?
Yeah, maybe we can come up with a parody song. We're all gonna die. It's humbleandfredradio.com.
Jesus Christ hangs his head with praise, and your Venice is sinking. I'm going under. This beauty's religion, and it's christened me with wonder.
The urge to run away, but hold her down with soggy clothes and breeze blocks. Cetirizine, your fever scream me again. Never kisses, or do you ever send a full stop? Do you know where the wild things go? They go along to take your honey. Way down how we build our breakfast down and say my love, love, love. La 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 la, muscle to muscle, toe to toe. The fears grip me, but here I go. My heart sings as I come up. Your hand grips and that's my eyes shining Do you know where the wild things go? They go on to take your honey. Way down our sleep, build a breakfast, now let's eat my love, love, love. She bruises calls, she splutters pistol shots. Hold her down with soggy clothes and breeze blows. She's morphine, queen of my vaccine, my love, love, love. La 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 la, muscle to muscle and toe to toe. The fear is gripping me, but here I go. My heart sings as I jump out. Your hand grips and as my eyes shining on. She may contain the urge to run away, but hold her down with soggy clothes and breeze blocks. Germaline, disinfect the scene, my love, love, love. But please don't go, I love you so, my lovely. Please don't go, I love you so, I love you so. Please don't go, I love you so, I love you so. Please break my heart. Please don't go, I love you so, I love you so. Please don't go, I love you so, I love you so. Please break my heart. Please don't go. I need you hold. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you hold. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you hold. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you hold. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you hold. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you hold. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you hold. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. Please don't go. I need you hold. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so.
take my hand and come with me because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine. I say you look so fine that I really want to make you mine. 4, 5, 6, come on and get your kicks. Now you don't need the money when you look like that, do you, honey? Big black boots, long brown hair. She's so sweet with her get back stare. Well, I could see you home with me, but you were with another man. Yeah, I know we ain't got much to say before I let you get away. Yeah.
Downtown, when your life is at stake, it's good old reliable Jake, who can help you when you've lost your keys.
Always good to have you along on a Thursday. Tomorrow, Phil Hong will host the Best of Humble and Fred. When we're done this segment here on Funny, we'll do a podcast extra today. Sean Sargent, who is producing the Twitch feed, will have a couple of stories in the news. For instance, how to add Disney Plus if you already have had a Hulu or ESPN Plus subscription. Well, who would have that in Canada? Can you even do that in Canada? All right, well, we're going to find out. And scientists have discovered a fifth force of nature. Can't wait to find out.
And Mike Babcock has been fired for wearing blackface in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Babcock, yes. That's just in the headlines. Babcock circumcised.
Wow.
Going to be my big joke. Welcome to our program. Of course, Barker's here, and Phil's downstairs yelling at something.
Just another day. at
Just
Humble
another
and
day
Fred.
at Humble and Fred Radio. Nesty Daniels, Toronto-based musical and sketch comedian, actor, and writer. Fresh off great run at the Toronto Fringe and Edmonton Fringe. Although you could do the Edmonton Fringe.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it was Edinburgh. Please say hi. Nesty Daniels and Nesty.
Woo!
Thanks so much for having me.
Look at you. What are you doing? You're doing all kinds of things.
Yeah, I play guitar and I sing some funny stuff.
Why did you, two questions. Why are you here, and why did you burn down your friend's cottage?
Almost burned down my friend's cottage.
Well?
Well, actually, I was, so first question, I guess, why am I here? Yeah, I have a show called 6 Frets Under, and yeah, I'm going to play you guys a song today.
Can't wait.
So I was at my friend's cottage when I was like 14, and he had this fire pit, and it was so intriguing. His parents were sleeping, and we had the fire going, and we were like, you know what, let's put some more fire in it. So I grabbed the gasoline tank, and I put some fire in it, and I put it too close to the fire pit, so the fire actually started climbing onto the nozzle. And then I thought, okay, how's fire gonna, be put out by wind, right? So I started waving the canister around. But of course, gasoline is spewing out, and it's just leaving trails of fire everywhere. His parents wake up; it's a big mess. All the fire happened near a giant propane tank, so I'm just happy to be here.
My goodness, son, that was idiotic.
Very.
Yeah. Wow.
Wait, I have a question. You're not supposed to pour gasoline on a fire to make it?
Not close enough, though.
Why did Russell Peters once tell you off during a show?
I was recording him.
Oh.
Yeah, with my digital camera.
And he said, don't do that.
No, I thought I was being inconspicuous, I had it in between like a couple of water glasses. I'm like 14. I think this is all fine. And he stops the show and he points at me and he's like, that mother effer is recording me, and just starts ripping me to shreds. And then a couple of security guards come and they like take my phone, my camera away and just delete everything. So all those memories were gone.
Did he say something that you're going to get hurt really, really bad? Or what's his line?
Yeah, I think
What's
it's something
that
like that. Yeah.
You're going to get hurt really, really
You're
bad.
You're going to really hurt something.
Yeah, really, really hurt bad.
You're going to pull something if you don't.
Is that Russell? I don't know this.
His big tagline for a while there was, you're going to get a hurting really bad.
His dad used to say to him.
Okay.
A lot of times people that do sketch and guitar and parody songs and sing, it's like I'm always struck by how good musically they are. Does that kind of how it starts with you? Like, did you want to be a guitar player?
I actually started with a violin.
Yeah.
So my grandfather, he's a violinist, Greek violinist. So he taught me all that stuff growing up, and then I picked up the guitar one day and I wrote a song for my sketch comedy group, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm ready to hear it. What about you?
I am. And what is the subject matter?
So I've got a lot of questions about life.
Sure.
Oh, who
well, you're
doesn't?
26, right?
27.
27.
Yeah.
Now, we're supposed to have a lot of questions.
Yeah. And just a lot of questions that keep me up at night. You know, like, for example, like, why is the sky blue?
Okay.
I don't know.
Are you asking me? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
the
not
sun
a
hits the atmosphere and something.
I'm not a
something.
I'm not a science man.
I don't know. No one ever knows.
Why isn't it purple? Right.
Yeah, that's another question.
Yeah.
And also, like, I have a question as well for you.
Yeah.
So, like, if a train is traveling at 45 miles per hour in one direction towards a car that's traveling at 30 miles per hour in the next direction, then how long will it take for schools to start teaching us practical things like taxes?
Exactly. Good point. So the name of this song is?
I Wonder.
I Wonder. All right, let me get the guitar going. That's number 5.
Do you need water? Are you okay?
I think I'm fine, yeah.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, guitar sounds great.
All right.
We're turning. Here it is. Your big show is. When is your show here?
What are we plugging?
Oh, plugging. It's a comedy special on nextupcomedy.com.
And where is Next Up Comedy?
It's a UK-based streaming service, but
Nice.
it is streaming worldwide, so you can pick up a free trial and check it out.
Great.
And there's a bunch of stand-up on there.
Recently nominated for Best Variety Act at the Canadian Comedy Awards, Friedrich, and has taped a gala for the 2019 Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
Look, in Winnipeg.
That's something.
That
Because,
is something.
You know, we've applied for those comedy awards and we've never nailed one down. You have.
Yes,
Fantastic.
exactly. We can't even get nominated for Best Podcast in this building.
What?
Yeah, there's somebody, the hairdresser next door, is doing a nice podcast called Hair on the Queensway, and actually does better than we do.
It's really good,
Yeah,
really
it's great.
engaging.
It's
All
a real
right, here
podcast.
it is. Nesty Daniels, everybody.
Woo!
Nesty, do it.
There's so much about life that we don't know. Every day I look up to the sky and ponder the unknown. Was the universe planned, or was this a perfect storm? And how come perverts always have mustaches? Is that their uniform? Can I speak in a Canadian accent if I'm eating a Boston cream? How come children are the future when they ruin our hopes and dreams? If God doesn't answer our prayers, is it because he doesn't speak English? And how come Koreans have a drink called soju when there's nothing Jewish about it? I wonder. All these things I wonder. It's my curiosity. If you stare out of a window, are you on display? And if you blow air into someone's bumhole, will they float away? I wonder. If you print your missing cat posters in black and white, do you even want to find your cat? If I step on a crack, will I break my mother's back? But if I step on my mother's back, will the roads be repaired? I wonder. All these things I wonder. It's my curiosity. Will all the humans be overthrown by the androids? And how come men who have man buns are always unemployed? I wonder, oh, and how come all of us have been put on this earth? I don't know. Oh, what are we supposed to do? What is our purpose? I don't know. How come it's called the Mile High Club, thousands of feet in the air? Can snitches get stitches if they don't have any health care? Can I be rude to myself if I am my own boss? And is terribly bad breath just a fart that got lost? These are the things I think about in my brain. If I name my child after IKEA furniture, will they fall apart on their first birthday? And if my bread only takes 3 hours to rise, does that mean my bread is more powerful than Jesus? I wonder. Thank you.
That's hot. That's a hot take. that's good. I don't know. I'm just trying to put hot take into a lot of sentences this week.
Is that the word of the day?
Hot take.
Hot take.
Good job,
Hot take.
Anesti. Very
Yeah,
good,
that was
Anesti.
great.
Thanks for coming in. Good
Really
luck.
great. Yeah.
And everyone,
Thanks,
and you can follow Anesti at Anesti Danellis. So I have Daniels.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just want you to know.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm stupid.
Bye.
Bye. Anesti Danellis. Good for you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Remember that moment I talked about? That's happening now.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.
Anesti, buddy.
Thanks for coming in.
Yes, very good. Alrighty, that mic there. Bark is still alive.
Here I am.
On your way to Bahrain.
Good to see you.
No.
Hope I make it.
So that's 7 hours to London, and then how many hours did you say from London to Bahrain?
I believe it's 8.
Oh, my
I'm
goodness.
nervous about it and nervous about my hip. I'm just nervous.
Are you?
Yeah, I get a little when I have to do really long trips. I'm just worried I'm going to get claustrophobic. I'm going to be
What's
next
wrong with
to
your hip?
Oh, yeah, I'm old.
Yeah, man.
old.
Listen, I
My hips
can
hurt every
relate.
night.
Yeah.
Are
Both
you not
my-
in your 40s?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's when it starts.
Yeah, it is when it starts.
A bunch of people, including Debbie Lynch, have sent us notes about your purple floodlights.
Yes, the lights are going up. Thank you very much for a few people.
Yeah, a lot of people here
wrote in about the purple lights, and I'm on it. And I'm looking more for purple floods as opposed to purple lights. But we'll see. I'm going to check out those places. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of people. A bunch of people have weighed in on the Dan Duran segment. They like that. I'm just going through some of the emails from the last week. I like to just mention people's names because they're so nice to. But there's one person who doesn't want us to use their name, and I just say Mark sent us a note. Listening to Tuesday's podcast, heard Fred refer to Trump as a prick. Here's a joke for you. How do you know that Trump isn't circumcised? Because there's no end to that prick. Babcock circumcised.
He made a quick visit apparently over the weekend to the hospital, Donald Trump. And there was some concern about it. But they've got him clocked at about almost 260 pounds right now or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
His doctor said Walter Reed. He popped in for the pre-physical. He was there for a couple hours.
Was that the reason?
Saturday afternoon? Yeah.
Because in CNN they made it sound like he might be on the verge of cacking. But anyway.
Well, but the fact is he's very, very overweight.
That's right.
He
loves his
lost,
burglars.
He's lost all shape.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes people get older and they just become a
blob.
A
fog blob.
An indistinguishable. There's just no shape to him.
Like a Furby.
And it doesn't show up in suits because suits tailor his body. But when you see him in those golf shots, it's like, son, stop eating so many burglaries.
Yeah.
It's also age and no sleep. We'll do it to anyone. Bye.
Stress levels.
What did you say, hon?
Age and no sleep. No, the I mean, he's probably not sleeping a lot. He's on his Twitter 9 times a day.
Yeah?
Yeah, I know.
On the can.
When you see some of the times, eh?
No, honestly.
That he's on that.
It's insane.
If you don't sleep, then, it does all sorts of things to your body and you gain weight, even if your diet is the same, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's somebody who says this is an interesting theory about Cherry that came up at his hockey night, men's hockey league. This is from Chris, who says, could it be that their contractual obligations to Budweiser and other sponsors, CBC was just waiting for Cherry to say something that they could action to launch him into the sun? But of course, the sponsorship would have been a Sportsnet thing, right, Fred?
Paying him?
Yeah. He said, but I won't do the math, but Coach's Corner has been on...
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Rogers, not CBC. Right.
Yeah. But Coach's Corner has been on a 20-second delay for years, says Chris. Wouldn't it have taken much to stop those comments from going to air? But nobody is holding the broadcaster to account. And we kind of addressed this yesterday because that Coach's Corner and the other parts, the other regions that run it, it's happening concurrently.
Yes, within minutes.
Yeah, but I get it.
But also, 20 seconds... You'd have to have somebody, and maybe they do, I don't know, but you'd have to have somebody on high alert that is in a position to make that call.
I think I read something in the last week or so, too, that they had done away with that delay, but I could be wrong.
Still, 20 seconds isn't much to make a call.
No.
You can't confer with anyone. You can't talk to anyone. You
Well,
have
it's
to be
enough
the one.
though. I think it's there. Let's say it is still there, and you might be right. They've taken it, but it's enough. It's enough that if he says a word, you can cut it. But it's a thought, and
Yeah.
again, it all happens so.
And how is that going to? One thing that hasn't been addressed either. I would say what he did is termination with cause. Did they get out from under the remainder of what they owed him, or was he paid? Because you know what our contracts were like over the years. If you brought, I mean, they were guaranteed, so to speak, if you were fired, unless you were fired for bringing dishonor or whatever you want to call it to the company.
Right.
CBSC violation of some kind. But finally, this email, a subject line, snowball. Hey, Fred, I've never been to a dance where they yelled snowball either. As I talked about back in Saskatchewan, you know, for the dances, you know, the community dances, we
the
would
snowball.
Well, we'd have community by the gazebo,
the shindigs.
Yeah, when we get together for shindigs and dances, we did this thing. Someone would yell snowball, and then you would change partners. Mike says, Fred, I didn't have that either. But then you and I grew up in. He grew up in Montreal. You grew up in Scarborough, where we had lots of people. He says, Doc, that's me, of course. Grew up in some small town out west where kids at the dance had to dance with their cousins. Where when parents would see a boy getting too excited while dancing with his cousin, they had to yell, snowball, to split up the kids. And he says, it's a great theory. Oh, man, I was laughing at myself driving in thinking of this. I get it, Mike. I thought Babcock Circumcised was going to win the day. Anyway, thanks to everyone that has emailed us this week. Brad Urbanowitz, Dana Shooter, and so many more. It's really nice. Okay? It's nice. On Twitch, Sean, somebody just cheered 1,000 bits.
Yeah.
I'll give you a microphone number 5, please. Why don't you explain to folks who aren't, gamers or Humble and Fred nerds what that means?
Yeah, on Twitch, there is a currency they used called bits. So if you're a subscriber, which we have 18, we're moving on up there. That's kind of cool. But anybody that wants to follow us on Twitch, that's the button with the big heart in the top right corner. Click that button, follow us. You get notifications on your phone, on your computer when we go live every day. And the bits that you donate contribute to the show, and you can get us to do things. So we have written, this was 8 months ago, we came up with this plan. Phil would sing a song for 1,000 bits.
Oh.
Now, the person that cheered it, is that Fred's brother-in-law, B. Joseph?
Oh, no, that would be my nephew, Brandon Joseph. So
yeah, B. Joseph 003, is that Fred's?
I'm sure it would be. B. Joseph, yes. He's a big fan. He's very loyal. And every little bit helps.
Yeah, it certainly does. Phil, do you want to... I don't know. Does he get to choose the song Phil sings? Because we'll do it for our podcast extra.
So he actually said he didn't expect anything for it, but in the end, I think we should follow up with our rules that we've
sure. Well, for our podcast extra, we're going to find a song that Phil likes, and he'll sing along with it, and a tear might come to your eye because he's a joy giver.
For $10, isn't he? For $10. Oh, look at.
I think it's.
Is that what that is? $10?
You deserve more than that.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you go over and cook him a nice meal?
What did you just say, Phil? You deserve more than that? That's my nephew. $10 is a lot.
I'm kidding, obviously. They're all bits in the end,
I tell science
right?
stories for $750.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe we should have some inflation.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we take care of some business here? Our good friends at Gig Sky, man. Dave told a great story about how attentive Rudra is, but the entire company's like that.
Yes, it is. Hey, listen, are you thinking of getting away from this rotten weather? Well, the Gig Sky eSIM now available on the new Google Pixel 4 devices, as well as the Pixel 3 and 3A. You can stay connected wherever you are. The same regional and world plans available on the eSIM-enabled iPhones are available on the new Google eSIM phone.
Giggle Pixel.
All you need to do is download the latest version of the Gig Sky app onto your phone, create an account, purchase a data plan. It will be downloaded and you're good to go with Gig Sky service, okay? And stay tuned for the Gig Sky winter travel specials coming soon to the Humble and Fred show.
Our good friend Barb Paluskowicz wants you to protect what matters most. Every small business owner knows the importance of their business data. The risk of losing your data is one of the biggest threats to your business. Do you know for sure if your business could survive a theft, fire, flood, severe storm, or even a server crash? with data backup. Backup?
Data backup.
Data backup.
It's in the oven.
Listen, dude, why don't you go to the computer and giggle backup? Data backup from CDN Technologies. Your data is protected by state-of-the-art solutions. Whether you need to be back up and running in a couple of hours or if a day or two is acceptable, we have solutions to fit the needed recovery timelines and budgets. Find out more at cdntechnologies.com. Find out more at
cdntechnologies.com.
Phil Hong, co-host of the CDN Technologies podcast, produced lovingly here at Humble and Fred Radio, which, by the way, is also an option for you or your business. You know, we often talk about sponsorship and partnerships, and that's great. We love having you support the program that way, or cheering bits is cool. But if you're looking to produce a podcast, we'd like you to know that we have the facility, we have producers, we have the technology from beginning to end, along with our good friend Toronto Mike. We'll be able to fashion the entire package. So if that's something you're thinking about, ask how. Ask your representative how.
Or go to our Patreon page.
Yes. Do we have a Patreon page? We should.
We
should.
We should.
All right.
For when people are like, I want to support you.
Well, yeah, we had Barker and I had this conversation yesterday. The person just said, I want to support you guys, and we were stunned by it.
We were like, what do you mean?
We were.
What does that mean?
I know.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
It was a weird part of the conversation because I just didn't. It was not awkward, but I was momentarily.
No, you handled it well.
Yeah, I was kind of momentarily unsure of what that person meant. They said, no, I just want to appreciate what you guys are doing. I just want to support it. And I was like,
We're
okay.
like, what?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Why you say that?
Remember in the early days we had that fantasy that one of our, biggest fans was a billionaire and just decided, he'd every so often just write us a check.
Yeah.
To make sure we stayed on.
Yeah.
Because he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Just selfish reasons. Just your humble and friend.
This
Here's
is a
100
fantasy
grand.
billionaire.
Keep doing what you do. Keep doing what you do.
And the weird thing is,
it was a fantasy.
Yeah, but it was a fantasy. Although ironically enough, we got a billionaire to support us. We did. We got a billionaire to support us for the last 8 years.
Yeah. You manifested that.
We did. We manifested a billionaire. But the thing is, he supported us even though he's not that big in us.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, he likes us. He doesn't love us, but he likes us.
And he's still supporting you.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I noticed. He's like supporting you again.
Yeah, still support. Well,
If we're talking about the same one, which I think we
we're
are.
talking about the same
I mean, we don't have that many billionaire friends.
Right.
There's a great story of the president of Titleist back in the 80s or early 90s, a guy named Wally Uline, and there was a Canadian golfer named Mo Norman, and Mo had fallen on some tough times and was having trouble supporting himself. And because this guy was such a fan of what Mo meant to the game of golf, he wrote him a check for $5,000 US a month for the rest of his life, just because he thought somebody should take care of the guy.
Isn't that sweet?
Wow.
And this is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for.
Whether it's bits
or billions. You can sponsor one of us or both of us. One of us could live in your home for.
We're talking about the Leafs today, and what a lot of these players are making. You look back at some of the great players in the NHL that are barely scraping by now and get lousy little pension checks. And you often wonder, wouldn't justice be some of these kids that are grossly overpaid now had some kind of a pool to look after these old guys?
Right.
But doesn't happen.
Do you think that the players of this generation understand, how lucky they are versus like a Darryl Sittler or, we were talking about Lanny McDonald, like what they used to make in the NHL versus what they make now?
Right. And even the guys before Sittler and McDonald who started the union and put their jobs and their livelihoods on the line for these kids that are reaping the benefits now.
No, but I'm being serious. You think Austin Matthews has a concept?
I guess if somebody whisper, if he's around the conversation.
Because I ask this for a reason. Golfers seem to be very aware of the history of the game. It's because of the culture of the game. You're sort of brought up and knowing, kind of where you came from. Because when Tiger Woods last month got to 82 wins, you wouldn't know this, but on the broadcast now, you see these young players they filmed a commercial all thanking Tiger and congratulating him, because they all know that what they make now is directly tied in to Tiger Woods of 1997.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit different because with Tiger it was almost overnight, right?
Almost.
Like he splashed onto the scene and people started making money with like hockey in particular. It was such a slow progression. Maybe
they probably don't appreciate it as much.
All right, we'll take...
sad, really.
Tomorrow morning, Phil Hong will be here hosting the Best of Humble and Fred. I heard it last week. It really is excellent. And we'll do a little bit more at humbleandfredradio.com. Fizzy.
This episode of Humble and Fred Radio is brought to you by FYI Music News, The Retirement Sherpa, Gig Sky, The Chambers Plan, Strain Print, Freedom Construction, Ringside MD, Clear Air Solutions, CDN Technologies, and 5 Hour Energy. We broadcast to the world from the worldwide headquarters of the Humble and Fred Show. Best of Humble and Fred tomorrow and online at humbleandfredradio.com.
Most of all, someone said true love was dead, and I'm bound to fall.
Just looking here on Twitch. This, somebody I think says Mudrat62 talks about looking after my mom for the last, I don't get that, last 8, 9. Say what?
8 to 9 years.
8 to
That's what he
9.
was trying to write.
Yeah.
With zero income, can you recommend a sponsor?
So Mudrat's mother has Alzheimer's? Is that what we're to understand?
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, my older brother Steve still lived in Regina, I think, when I was living in Los Angeles when my mother got really sick. So 86, 7, 8, and 9. 8. I barely saw her, you know. So it was, and Stephen and Jane, his wife, looked after her more, were more active because they lived close to where my parents lived. But I remember that, so I would see her once a year. So you know what it's like year to year. You know, a lot of, especially when you're in your 50s. You know, it's a long time to go without seeing somebody. And I just remember, like, I didn't have some day-to-day dealings with her, but it was such a difference when I would see her, you know, every year or so.
Yeah.
Because she went from being fairly cognizant, and then a year later, she can't remember where her cigarettes are.
Yeah.
So Mudrat 62, I was going to write that it's a shitty thing you're going through, but what are you going to do?
I guess that could be one upside of Alzheimer's, right? Forgetting where your cigarettes are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, for sure. Well, my mother got to the point where she couldn't. She forgot she smoked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's, yeah.
She couldn't make change.
Jeez.
That was the one that always used to make me cry. Is I remember her taking me out for lunch. I came to visit her, and she wanted to pay for lunch. And when the bill came, she couldn't remember how to make change. She was like trying to remember because she wasn't
right.
Yeah, she was trying to put the dollars and cents together, and she just couldn't. It just she knew they were. She knew at that point it was money. She just didn't know what the denominations were, and I was like.
Remember with my father-in-law, we took him out for lunch, and we knew it was happening at that point, and he took a creamer, like he was going to drink, like tried to drink the creamer.
Yeah.
And that for me was a big moment because I was like, okay, we're in a different world now, you know?
I wonder, and I say this having, again, Stephen and Jane had more to do with Luba day to day, but I wonder if it's a shitty way to go, but I wonder if you're the Alzheimer's patient, if it's what it's like for you. I mean, my mother was frustrated, but at some point she stopped being frustrated because she didn't really know anymore what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is sort of a weird
blessing, yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
That you almost want that.
For them.
For them.
Yeah.
Bruno was angry. He was sad and angry, and you could tell he was frustrated, so he knew. And he knew all of us. Like, we didn't lose, for whatever reason, he didn't lose that. He very much knew who we were. That never changed. But knowing how to do certain things did, which really frustrated him because he was a doer. He was a guy that would, he did our bathroom upstairs. He did most of our house, and not even that long ago.
It's interesting you say that. I've read that a lot of Alzheimer's patients are angry, sad, and frustrated. And the way I explain it to somebody, I say, that feeling when you can't remember, you walk into a room, you're not sure what you walked into that room for, or, you can't find your keys. Imagine that's your fucking life forever.
Yeah.
You're just constantly thinking, I should remember something.
Yeah.
Sean.
So sad.
Yes.
What did you want to tell us?
Should I attempt this science story? It's pretty big.
The fifth force of nature.
Yeah. So
that seems like a lot.
Physics. Yeah, this is physics and dark matter oriented. So let me try.
Well, that's why we turn to you Georgetown's leading science researcher.
I have dark matter in my underwear.
Ooh,
that's my boy right there.
It's orbiting.
Well, circumcised. What did he say?
Funny you say that.
It's orbiting.
It's got rings.
Fred's got will nuts.
Yeah.
Funny you say that, because one
Hershey.
of the things we do know is that dark matter is involved in like the whole universe, but we don't really know its weight. We've never seen it, so maybe there is dark matter in that.
How do we know it's there then?
I get a Milky Way.
I bet you do.
It explains a
bet you
lot of our
do.
stuff in science that we don't understand.
Yeah,
So
we don't understand.
Why this story is important is because we know there's like 4 forces of nature.
What are they, Sean?
Up, down, sideways, something like that. Gravity, the basic forces of nature. There's only 4.
Earth, wind, and fire.
I haven't been around for one of these segments in a while.
Yeah.
I forgot.
That was a great question, by the way. What are they, Sean?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for that.
4 years of Humber.
I'm trying to look up
2
dark
years.
matter here, and now you're
Oh,
getting
is it
back
2
to
years?
the
Okay.
forces. Okay. So yeah, the fundamental forces. There's electromagnetic forces. There's propulsion,
Right.
as well as gravity is a force. We only know of the 4 as well. Oh great! I can't hear what you're playing. So this is
I'm
probably
just playing
amazing.
Blinded Me with Science.
Okay, great. But there's also tiny little reactions and subatomic things that happen. That's where scientists can explain or are finding new forces and new things like that, because it explains the small little connections that we have never had a
Amazing.
What are
understanding
you
of.
talking about?
Yeah,
So,
you should
like,
put this
dark
on your
matter.
demo.
Oh yeah, well, like dark matter, they know is involved in most of
Dark
nuclear
matter.
physics.
Fred's got dark matter in his pants.
Hey, Peace River FM.
That's right. This is your new morning show.
I've sort of missed the point of the story.
Yeah.
What is it?
So, in trying to find and explain dark matter,
Yes.
they have found this new force that will help us explain and fill in the blanks that we
Okay.
didn't have before.
Good.
Because
Oh,
we don't
good.
know about all the forces.
I've been wanting to fill in the blanks. Yeah.
In your pants.
Yeah. Find that dark matter.
That dark matter matters.
Hey, I just noticed that Earl Epstein has weighed in this morning on Twitch, and I'm outing you right now, Early. I listened to, Earl gave me the preview of his podcast.
Oh my gosh.
And I got to tell you, it's very, very good. It's called What Were We Thinking? And I got a chance to listen to it. It's about an hour and a half long. And Earl, don't be a baby. Let everyone hear it. It's very, very good.
What's it about?
Well, you know what? It's just about random
matter.
It's about dark matter
And orbits.
It's about will nots. It's about what have you.
No, what is it about?
Nothing really. It's just
Okay.
they take him and some. It's got a really good lineup because it's like him and 2 of his friends who are around his age, late 40s, early 50s, and then he has this interesting voice who is his daughter's best friend. So she's a millennial,
Okay.
like early 20s, and so here are these 3 sort of older dudes talking about stuff, and then she comes in with a perspective. And it's really quite refreshing, and I wish he would release it. He's done like 8 episodes. I heard the 8th one, and I got to tell you, it's very, very good. So, Earl, all the people on Twitch that are, your buddies, would love to hear it, and I think you should release it. Because he's one of those guys, he's very, he's one of these, it's too bad he doesn't appreciate his own goodness,
A lot of people are like that.
I know.
When it's something new, yeah, I get it.
And I said to him, I said, listen, man, no one's going to listen to it with the critical ear that you would, because
Right.
I just listened to it as your friend, and I thought, I said to him, I was so happy it didn't suck, because sometimes people get you to listen to stuff,
Yeah.
you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Earl, have you heard our podcast?
That's right. We don't want anyone to listen to this.
We're critical, but
You know what it's like when someone said, hey, my kid's a musician, you're like, oh, Jesus. And then it's great when they turn out to be not horrible. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Earl's
yeah.
was very, very good. I heard it last week.
He's done how many?
He's done like 8 episodes.
So is he
of it.
gonna? What's the plan? He's gonna release them every week, half week.
Well, I think the plan was he was going to wait until he thought it was good to release it. I said, don't wait. It's good now. It's good enough now.
But release it on a schedule,
exactly.
Earl. Like do once a week at the same time, kind of thing, so people know to look for it.
And what's the big deal with releasing? Like, just put it
Yeah, I
out
know.
there. See what happens. That's what it's all about.
I love Mike. Our buddy Sal Nasitra on Twitch just read, there are 4 forces of nature, up, down, sideways, something like that. Sean
Something like that is number 4.
Quoted Sean Sargent, 2019. Dr. Sean. Yeah.
That should be on the wood. Up, down,
sideways, something like that.
Sean.
Hard to believe you went to MIT.
Yeah, or
all right.
any of the schools I went to.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, so there you go, Earl. Release your
That's what I do.
All right, we gotta go. I'm hungry.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Thursday is the new Friday at the Humble and Fred Show.
It has been for some
See
time.
you in Milton for our 11 a.m. lunch.
Phil, help Howard upstairs.
I got it.
How do I get home?
Let me Samoan you.
Yeah. All right, Phil Hahn.
Phil, Howard's hungry. Help him. Show him where the kitchen is.
Yeah. Where's Milton? Listen, everyone. Phil has the best of Humble and Fred. Tomorrow morning, it's great. It's got Joe Warmington, I believe.
Yeah,
and,
Harry Rosen is our
Rosen.
guest. Theory of a Dead Man. Yeah.
All right.
They're dead.
All right.
There's a destination a little up the road from the habitations of the town.